What if I told you the world's strongest man is not a strong man? My name is Eric Favors and I am an Olympic shot put thrower. And I'm going to be reviewing Mitch Hooper talking about Joe Kovacs, the world's strongest man. And we're going to get into the video.
I think I found the real world's strongest man, and I'm not being facetious in any way. I'm going to give you all the numbers and you make up the decision for yourself. Feel free to guess in the comments who I'm talking about. Now I'll go over some of the people who you might think that I'm talking about, but I'm not. And this person you may have never heard of before. So Lasha, #1 Olympic weightlifter in the world. Absolutely.
Fun fact, I actually met Lasha in the Olympic Village this summer, and he is massive. He could be arguably one of the world's strongest men, but we're going to continue.
And I'm not talking about an NFL player like Aaron Donald. I'm talking about someone else. And this person is an Olympian. This is what I came across them. I was looking at different things that I thought maybe I could do for the Olympics, which we're going to put a video out soon of me seeing how close I could be. But one person really caught my eye. And he caught my eye because he's also a rogue athlete. And I saw a video of him squatting, and I thought, this is not real. This can't be real. Maybe it's 45-pound, not 55-pound plate, something. But the more I look into it, the more that this is legit. This man's name is Joe Kovacs. Now, he just won the silver medal.
So I just wanted to let you guys know also for a number of years, so Joe is a clean athlete as well. Other than, I mean, like the strongmen, they're able to take the performance enhancing drugs. Joe Kovacs has been on the scene since 2012, getting tested a number of times, and he has 8 major championship medals. So he's clean. He's gotten probably drug tested 200 times plus. I mean, I've been on the circuit for a number of years. I think this is like my 4th professional season and my 3rd season being tested. And yes, you get drug tested a lot. I just got drug tested last Friday. So yes, he is clean. So we're going to keep on getting into what Mitch Hooper is talking about.
Olympics in the shot put. He's got the 2nd best shot put throw of all time at 23.23 meters.
You guys saw how that ball was flying? Shot put, it is a 7-foot ring. The weight of the shot put is 7.26 kg or 16 pounds. And the goal is to keep it on your neck and spin or glide. There's 2 different techniques, and try to develop as much force as you can to throw the ball as far as you can. And once you throw it, you keep the shot put on your neck and launch it. So it's a lot of like technical movements, but you have to be big and strong like a strong man, like a power athlete. So that's why we get into the heavy lifts. So,
which is basically, you take a 16-pound ball from the goal line of a football field and you throw that to the touchback line. The amount of power is absurd. But what makes him particularly unique in terms of shot put is that he's only 6 foot tall, and his closest competitor is 6'7", and most shot putters are 6'7". Of course, the
shot putters come in very shapes and sizes. So there are like huge guys, but like shorter guys. I mean, I'm like 5'11" as well, and I'm the same height as Joe Kovacs. So I would kind of tell him that he's 5'11" and like 3/4, but you're able to get away with it with technique and also with body mass. So it's kind of an open game. So he's the 2nd furthest shot put thrower of all time. The #1 guy is 6'7", so there's a huge range, and everybody's kind of like in the middle, in between. So
the taller you are, the less arc you have to have because you're already starting from a higher spot, so you can throw it more direct. It's a massive advantage, and that's a 7-inch height difference. Presumably a 7-inch difference in wingspan, meaning Joe might actually throw the shot put about 35 centimeters further if he.
I think Joe got longer arms than that. I want to give him, I think he has a longer wingspan than his height. Just like seeing him in person, I mean, I can only imagine that he has long arms. So I wouldn't say he has a 7-inch wingspan advantage as well. So
he was also 6'7". Now I always say he's not 6'7", and he doesn't. And if he had wings, he could fly. But it does give you some context of how strong this guy must be to be able to compete at this level. Now he's won the World Championship twice. He's won Olympic silver medal 3 times. I'm sure he would love to get that gold before time is said and done. He's done World Championship silver 2 times, and he's been the Diamond League winner, which is the track and field World Championships, twice, in effect.
Diamond League Championship is not a world title. It is the biggest track and field league, but is not a world title. A world title is a world championships, Olympic championships. That is a global medal. A Diamond League is, up there, but it's not to the same extent. So, yeah, I mean, he doesn't know much, but I mean, Mitch he's trying to do the research. So I'm just here to help him and correct it.
World Championships. Now let's get to his actual numbers, because of course, shot put is a skill, and all Olympic sports is a skill. This is why Lash is not the world's strongest man. If he tried to be, he probably wouldn't succeed or even come that close, to be honest. But let's look at some powerlifting numbers first. His squat. This is the first thing that caught my eye. Here's a video of him squatting 395 kilos or 870 pounds for 4 reps. Now, there's video footage of this. This would put his estimated 1 rep max at 439 kilos. Now, the current world number 1 in Jesus, because this is drug tested, so drug tested powerlifting, number 1 in the world record is 470 kilos. I should say current world number 1. 470 kilos. So Joe would have to go from 439 to 968 all the way up to 1,036. But in this video, he's doing high bar. He's in knee sleeves only. He's squatting to pretty good depth, and it's not his sport. So he's damn close. He's 31 kilos off the current number 1 in the squat. But shot putters, they've got another strength involved in powerlifting, which is of course bench press. You got to be able to launch and throw with.
And actually a funny video he released before going into like the Olympics of him benching like a absurd amount of weight. And he basically benched what he just squatted in that video. So it's just like the growth he's had over the years. It's just remarkable. So he's gonna talk about the bench press right now, but I just wanted to make a tidbit of like, you see the growth he's had year in, year out, and it's unbelievable.
That power. And I couldn't believe this either. There's a video of him bench pressing 350 kilos for 2 reps. Now it is not to powerlifting standard, of course, but it does come down, touch his chest, and he does press it up. His butt comes up off.
So for shot put, we don't really need the pause bench. If you see the movement, you saw how he was throwing. There's nothing slow about it. So exactly like how we throw, that's how we lift. Very fast, very explosive. So that's why you do like a bounce bench or partials like that. Just very explosive. Our main goal is to throw a shot put far. It mimics that. So my bench press is 500 pounds, so 227 kg. I did it a couple of years ago. Not nearly as strong as what he is. I have aspirations eventually, because I mean, he's just been year in and year out of like, great sleeping, eating, gaining weight. So I'm on my way. I'm gaining a couple pounds. During season, I probably weighed like 227 kg or 286 pounds, around like 130. Now I'm getting my body weight up to handle the heavy load. But yeah, I'm climbing. My numbers are starting to climb as hopefully as high as a guy like this. Joe Kovacs, his bench press was 770 pounds. Unbelievable. More
off the bench a little bit. So I'm going to say if he went and he trained, he could hit this weight for a single. It didn't look like the hardest thing in the world, to be honest with you. Now, the current world record for IPF powerlifting is 320 kilos. We're talking about 30 kilos on top of that. And Jesus, he benches 273 kilos or 601 pounds. So that is insane. You take the deadlift and the bench press together, and he would be 46 kilos ahead going into deadlifts, meaning he would need to deadlift 365 pounds. 365 kilos or slightly over 800 pounds.
Funny story about this, where I lift at a gym called Garage Strength, and we have the best discus thrower in the country, and he has the same agent as Joe Kovacs. And I remember one day, like it was a couple of years ago, that his agent texted him and was like, "Oh, Joe Kovacs just did 1,000 pounds on the trap bar for 4." And then I just remember hearing that, and then our coach just like, you see the things going off in his head. He was like, "Oh, now we have to deadlift." So I didn't get nearly as close as what he did, but I think I did like 780, not for 4, for 1. And it was very, very challenging. But you could just go to see what his deadlift would be. I don't know if he has any videos, but we're going to get into it.
Tells me a guy that powerful squatting, that powerful bench pressing, it must translate over. He must be able to do that. So he could be, in my opinion, the world IPF champion in about 3 or 4 weeks of training time. Full stop. Now, this doesn't necessarily make you the world's strongest man because we have other events, but let's go through those and let's talk about some parallels between what a shot putter might have to do and what a strongman might have to do. Now, in strongman, we've got push, pull, overhead press, carry, hinge, and squats. His squat is great. His overhead pressing, it would have to be good, especially because in the shot put, when you actually...
What I've heard is that he's overhead bent or overhead jerked like 270 kg. I don't know. I feel like it's a fairy tale with every time we talk about this guy because like he's very secretive with his training. In his mind, it's like if he makes the post, he thinks that people will just like try to aim that and like emulate that, but that is just unbelievable. I mean, I've jerked 245 and that's like really impressive. Just imagine adding, 30 more kilos on that. 245 kg is actually 530 pounds. 270 kg is nearly like 600 pounds. So you can only imagine doing that, the bar bending and just shooting up and you having to stabilize that. That is unbelievable. So eventually I would love to do that, but like that takes time. That takes years of dedication.
Pause that moment. They get this sort of twist and lean back. And that lean back is very similar. So I imagine overhead, he would be unbelievable. When it comes to deadlifting, we don't have any information. He's built like a guy who could probably deadlift well, but really, really not sure. With grip, his hands, you look at a shot putter's hands, they look like a big piece of...
Shot put hand. That's right. So, I mean, I just had big hands in general, but like if you would look at Joe Kovacs' hand, his hand is just dang near twice the size of his other hand. And that's just because when you throw shot put, the last part is coming off of like your fingertips, your hand. So we use a lot of like protection. We use tape, we use wraps, and it's still just like wear and tear over the year. You have to protect your hand because that's the last little part. And that, especially with like newer throwers, is like a thing that gets hurt. So your hand just, it grows in size, and I really don't know what exactly it is, but it gets more meatier.
Big, meaty claws!
And yeah, that's what a shot put hand is, and that's exactly what he's talking about.
The overhead press. Here's a video of him doing a behind the neck split jerk at 230 kilos. Now, World's Strongest Man in 2022, we did the Flintstone lift, which is effectively the exact same thing. And this would have put him 4th by a narrow margin. And this was just a training lift. If he peeked into it, something tells me 440, 445, somewhere around 1st, surely that would be somewhat reasonable. For squatting, 439, estimated 1 rep max squat. This is in the sleeves, just sleeves and a belt. At the Arnold in 2022, this would have been the #1 squat, with the caveat being, you could have also wrapped your knees and you could have also worn a squat suit. Now, JF Carone won that event, and he certainly had more in the tank, but I would back Joe. I would back Joe if he trained in a suit with knees.
And Joe Kovacs goes to these events because he is a rogue athlete. So like he went to the event, and I'm pretty sure he made like there was an interview, and he was saying how he thought the squat would be a little bit higher. And that's kind of crazy coming from a shot putter, which we're not. I mean, we're technically a strength athlete, but like, yeah, I don't know. He thought it would be higher, so I thought that was pretty funny.
He's done sets of 10 squats at 700 plus pounds. Now, a lot of footage that I'm talking about is squat related, bench press related, because these are the stuff that he trains because it's relative to his sport. When it comes to grip related events, like I said, with the hands, like a big pad of meat, like a big meat fillet, I'm thinking that it shortens your fingers. The thicker your palm is, the shorter your fingers get when you go to wrap them around a bar. And that makes it harder inherently. So this, I'm not sure. Guys built like...
I agree. Honestly, I've tested like my grip, my forearm grip, and I could barely... I mean, it's not like I have a weak grip at all, but I think just because of the big meaty claws that it makes it tricky to like actually grab and grip. So, I mean, I think we had a guy at the gym do it was like a forearm tester, and he tested higher than me. And I just was like, dang, what the heck? I thought I would be, higher, but I think that actually has something to do with like it shortens my I don't know exactly what he just said.
Him, 6 foot tall, he's only 300 pounds, which we'll get to in a second. Usually,
he's not 300 pounds. He probably weighs like 350. He is a massive human being.
Deadlift, like I said, question mark. Anytime a throwing event comes into place, Joe would win. So what are we left with? We're left with Atlas stones as a staple event. I don't know. Usually the extension is harder than the pick. I think if he got his tacky right, something tells me he could pick a heavy stone, and certainly he could front squat that, no problem. And that's strongman. I mean, I think if Joe trained for 6 months to learn some of the implements, learn the technique, all of the foundation is there for him to win World's Strongest Man.
I've never done a strongman competition before. I've done some events, but yeah, I mean, Joe Kovacs, I believe, could transition. I don't know if he's going to continue to throw for a number of years, if he would even be interested in doing a strongman competition eventually. But yes, exactly what he said, train for 6 months and be able to compete with the top guys in the world with his pro card, and I mean, probably win a competition or two. I mean, to be honest, because he is just a different athlete, different specimen. He's different. Bestly put,
This is a welcome with open arms. If Joe wants to come into strongman, if he wants to give it a crack, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm sure we could get you into somewhere fun. I'm sure we could get you into somewhere pretty cool. And I'd be more than happy to show you the ropes, because in the end, more people in strongman makes our world better. And someone of that level of athleticism, that level of strength, to have someone like that in the sport is always a privilege.
And I agree. I mean, the strength community is growing as well. So like we're starting to see like these diamonds in the rough, and just like an athlete like that in an Olympic sport, you can only imagine who else is out there. I mean, I'm getting up there as well with my strength numbers. I mean, my numbers, I've snatched 170 kg. I've cleaned 195. So like 430 pounds. I've snatched 374 pounds. I've done some pretty impressive stuff. And like eventually I will compete like in an Olympic weightlifting event. I think about a strongman, it's kind of tough because like after I'm done, I don't want to hold the weight, but we'll see. I don't know.
You're allowed to be an athlete. We're doing throw for max height. We're doing squat for reps at 360 kilos or 800 pounds. All of these things, I'm thinking, Joe would have me on a handful.
Yeah, I mean, basically he's just saying that he would compete with the title as World's Strongest Man. Who do you guys think would win in a competition, Mitch Hooper or Joe Kovacs, if Joe Kovacs actually trained for it? Mitch Hooper is one of the strongest human beings on the planet. He is winning show after show. I'm a big fan. I watch his YouTube channel all the time. I love his diets. I love his videos. What he's doing at this level is unbelievable. Not a lot of people can do that. Balance everything while also competing at the highest level, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to emulate what he's doing, because I'm making the climb in the ranks. Like I've made the last like 3 like world championships or like an Olympic game. So, and I'm trying to create content similar to like what he's doing. Let me know who you want me to react to next in the comments. See ya.